The TV and film industries are a sinking ship. What do we do about it? This is a screenshot from a story by Poppy J, who I tagged in a video a couple of videos ago. Go and watch that, and go and watch her video that prompted that. I don't have all the answers, but I can tell you what I'm doing and a little bit about how I came to that conclusion. So firstly, if you don't know who I am, I'm Hutch. I have worked for the last 15 years in production across independent film, TV, commercials, social media, and recently, very much like Poppy in her video, I had one of the best years, like the culmination of my career. I was working on a massive slate of films for a large American investor, and one of those projects was nominated for an Emmy, like just the pinnacle, the peak of my career to date. And I left that company at the end of 2024, start of 2025, and I found myself in this weird position, right? I had had some amazing success. I've been very lucky to get that success. It had been well paid, and it had grown to a pinnacle. But I was still a little bit of an outsider in certainly the UK industry, because most of that high-level work had been done for an American company in a international market. So me going and getting a job of that same level in one of the UK institutions was almost impossible, because all of the big channels, all of the big film institutions in the UK, they run quite a strict succession planning ladder. So I would have to have taken a couple of steps back in my career to be able to enter one of those companies. Plus, I'd spent 3 years working with some of the highest level production companies in America, in Hollywood. And I'd heard firsthand how difficult that market had been, even for the people right at the top of that tree. And then the final thing that kind of changed my mind and sent me in this direction was I pitched a project into one of the major channels in the UK. And the commissioning editor said to me, "This is cool, but we would probably only look at this if it had a big social following." Now, social followings are kind of my speciality, right? I come from a social media background. I know how to build a following, and I know how expensive it is to build a following. And that made me think, like, by the time I have worked out how to build a project, build a following around it, I will have to have already monetized. And if I've already monetized, why do I need the channel? Like, the channel will pay the production budget for the show that I'm making, but in order to get that, I have to basically give them 90% of the upside. And if I've already got a money-making business that is content, why do I want to give somebody else 90% of the upside? And then I looked to friends, colleagues who were working in the digital space as content creators. And this is a space this is a new job, right? Nobody really understands how this works. And most people think that this is like, you're very lucky because you grow an audience and you can monetize. But there are a ton of different ways to monetize an audience. And I was like, why aren't filmmakers and TV people using that? Like, it's not as high level as working with a channel. You don't get as much budget, but you get more control. You get to be able to grow into that place, and you get to capture all of the really important data, which is the bedrock of most modern businesses. Which, by the way, is also data that you relinquish if you work with a channel, or if you go to Amazon or Netflix or YouTube even. So I saw this path where independence became a real benefit to people, because A, people are not getting opportunities hand over fist from the traditional system. It is hard. Funding is hard. Commissions are hard. Everything is super, super competitive. And because of that, so many voices are not getting heard that should be. And from speaking to independent filmmakers, independent TV producers, what I understood very quickly was that the reason that they aren't all going hand over fist into a full independent direct-to-consumer model is because they just don't know how to build. They know that they have to put some content out, but they don't know what's important. They don't know how to build quickly. They don't know how to reinforce that growth with paid spend, which is then being funded by products. There was just all of this gray area that they didn't understand, that digital content creators know and do all the time, but they didn't know that. And so that's what I'm doing on the internet. I'm setting out to prove that A, it is possible for independent filmmakers to build a foundation of their career through social media. I'm teaching them the ways that they can monetize. I'm teaching them the ways that they can promote and market their stuff through social media specifically, and how they can own and keep their data, their customer data, to be able to grow over a long term. And obviously I make a ton of videos a day which talk about that. All of that information is free. I do have some paid products. I'm not a total capitalist. I'm also not a total socialist, but I do have some paid products. So I have my Film Insider community, which I think is a really important thing. Firstly, it's very difficult to have a good discourse about what is working on social media. And so having a place that is off social media where people can all interact and all share their findings and are all sort of kind of working towards the same thing, that was really important for me to have. But it's also a place where independent filmmakers can network with each other and start projects. And then at some point, I will have a course on exactly how to build as a filmmaker on social media. Again, all of the information that's in that course is free on my TikTok, but it's spread across videos all over the place. So it's just, if you're paying for a course, you're paying for it all to be in like one place so that it's easier. And so to finally answer the question, the boat is sinking. I was suggesting a coup. I think what is happening is, the first thing is that growing an audience on social media is a really powerful tool. In the traditional industry, right? Like every creative media world, music, literature, film, everybody's agents are kind of encouraging them to build a social media presence. Exactly how you do that is debated, hotly debated. But doing that helps you in the traditional system. But it also helps you understand where that traditional system is useful and where it is taking advantage of you. Because if you, without the need of the system, are able to make films, the point where you invite the system in is up to you. It's not there because you need that. You absolutely desperately need that to even make your piece, because that's how the industry gets and takes advantage of people. But it is a way that you can decide what is valuable to you. And when I'm talking about building an audience, there are people in my community who are already monetizing with an audience of 1,000 people, right? They're not making 10K a month. This isn't Ecom Bro world, right? This isn't the kind of thing that we're talking about. In fact, if you want to make a profitable business, you shouldn't do it in film. You should not do it in film. But if you are dead set on being an independent filmmaker and you're making films anyway, monetizing them effectively and capturing data can just help you get much further, much further. So I don't know if this is the answer. I think it is an answer. I think there are going to be lots of different answers to this, and I'm excited to see people try different things. What I can say is that as somebody who is building an audience and now could very reasonably fund and distribute short films profitably to my own existing audience, I feel like every minute that I spend building that is worth 100 minutes pitching or writing proposals or going and meeting commissioners. Like, I have just had so little from the traditional world as somebody who's pitching stuff comparatively to what I build here. This to me feels like the future. Who knows?